10 hours.
Okay.
So, but it's heavy.
Middle of the night.
Yeah, Steve's probably gonna come down. Oh, wait, oh, no,
Oh,
he's
okay.
gonna
Steve, run in this?
Okay, he's gonna run that. Whoops, sorry.
Oh, does she need the chair?
No.
There's another chair in.
Oh, there's one right
There
here.
are
my
two
God.
chairs
Yeah, I
in
didn't
there.
see those. I know, look out.
I was gonna take.
You're on the- you're being
recorded. That's right, we like
Bull
that color.
China shop.
Don't we?
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
So this has been probably the most challenging concert I've ever worked on because I decided at a very old age of 70 something, a little bit more now, that I actually needed to learn some 20th century music. And then I became surprised. Barbara, who's my teacher, introduced me to different 20th century musicians. And so I began to start playing 20th century music, and it's very difficult to play because for all those years I just got used to a certain one. So I'm playing some 20th century music. The good news about 20th century music is if I make mistakes, nobody will know. That's the good part. The bad part is I know.
Except for Barbara, she'll know.
She'll know. But you won't tell me. So this is a program called Mozart to Modern, and there's going to be two 20th century and one of them very early 20th century. The first one is Norman Delo Joio, and it's very interesting, his music, because it's got dissonances, but it's very melodic. So it's kind of a melodic structure with a lot of dissonant harmonies. And it's very sweet and gentle, and I'm playing something called 6 short intergalactic etudes. Now, what that is he builds the whole piece on seconds, thirds, fourth and fifths, sixth, seventh, and eighths. So he builds all this, the whole piece on that, and you think, you know, this is not, doesn't sound great.
Sounds like
But
chopsticks.
but it works. And so I'm going to start with that, and then we'll go on, take a little 2-minute break while I talk about the next piece.
Mark, do you mind if the door is open in front?
Yeah, so we can have some air.
Oh yeah, you can open the door, and maybe the cat will come in.
No, the cat likes the back door, which is open, so
Okay.
if she's coming back.
Oh,
Oh,
my
like
grace.
Because of the coyotes.
Okay,
Yeah.
this starts out with fourths and
We never
fifths.
let her out at night.
So you don't have a
Yeah.
paper
Yeah.
program?
What?
You didn't
And
have
your
a paper
book.
program?
What paper?
No, you do it, you, okay.
That's for the Jones. The next one is thirds. And the next one's seconds, very wild piece. Next one, six. This one is sevenths, and this is probably the hardest one for me. This is octaves.
Something about the composer or any,
You're actually from San Diego, right? Was he here in San Diego, taught San Diego State, I think? He
I don't
is,
think so.
lived to like 93, and he loves these, kind of open. But what I find fascinating about his music is that, this is, so it's kind of, it's not your classical, but it has a beautiful harmonic ring to it. And then he does really interesting things, like, this last piece I played with the octaves, the melody goes, and then he has, and then later on he's going, so he builds in all kinds of interesting structures to his.
Well, that was the signal from the furthest away planet, that galactic, that last piece.
That was the furthest away from what?
the furthest away from Earth.
Sure. Okay, now we're gonna do something that is more familiar to many of you, and this is a Mozart sonata. And no doubt I think you all know Mozart, one of the great composers ever. And this is a minor piece, but it's written in a very structural classical sonata form. The fast movement, slow, and then very fast. Lots of beautiful melodic passages and a balance between serenity and chromatic passages. Lots of dynamic changes, especially in the second movement. This is just a gorgeous piece. Every time I listen to Mozart, it just astounds me. People can do before the age of 40. moved it.
Oh.
Sorry. This is just gorgeous. it's Scorcho 310, it's in A minor.
That was great, thank you, Mark. Woo.
It felt like a 5 minute, because it went back and forth a lot, you know, and I get, well, I'm in your view of your face
Yeah.
too, so.
Well, there's all kinds of
Little trills
trills,
here.
oh yeah, I mean, it is one of the more challenging pieces of the play, but it's so gorgeous, I mean, I'm just crazy about it.
Hey, Mark, do you have any idea when you wrote that, or how old he was when you wrote it?
Let's see when they give a date. Composed in 1778. And-
Quick, when was he born?
Okay, cell phones.
Math.
Well, Beethoven was born in 1770.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Mozart
He's
was,
8 years old.
Mozart, I think, was, I think it was 56. He lived,
Yeah.
he lived 36 years.
when do you know what year he died in?
1792, I think. So he's sort of in his 20s. Let me put it this way, he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
But the thing about Mozart is, I mean, I didn't realize this, he wrote operas when he was 9 years old. He had about 5 operas before he was even 16.
Yeah.
It was just,
He was on steroids.
okay, Grace,
That was
I
before
want you
they
to
had
introduce the Curlionis.
Okay. It's my turn to do a little background material for you. Mikalojus Konstantinas Curlionis is considered Lithuania's, which is where I'm from, probably the most sophisticated, I think, although there's some pretty good ones since then. But he is very well known as a composer, but what is unique about him, he's also Lithuania's one of the most famous artists. And to have that kind of a combination is really amazing. And actually, when we were still living in DC, the Hirshhorn Gallery of Art had a show called Music and Visual Arts, and 5 of his pieces were featured. And they do not let the pieces out of Lithuania very much. Among other things, he died very poor at age 33, and he was taken away, so to speak, but at age 6, he was one of the younger children of a 7-children family of a church organist. And he was discovered to be very talented as a youngster. And the family had no money to educate him in music. But nearby, which was very typical of that time in Lithuania, this was under the Tsarist rule. The rich folk sometimes they ran their own music schools. So this nobleman heard of him and said, okay, I'll take him. So when I say he was given away at 6, he was sent off to be with this nobleman's family in the art school. Then he, when he got to be a teenager and college age, he got a scholarship to the Warsaw Conservatory of Music. So he went off to Warsaw, and when he finished that, he went off to Germany. And he studied in Germany for 2 years. And then he decided he was going to be an artist. And the only thing that I will tell you more about his art is that the Blaue Reiter school of German Expressionism that Kandinsky organized, he had an invitation to that show, but by the time it arrived, he was dead of TB at 33. So he never got to, show his art in a big venue. But in the meantime, the Japanese have discovered him, and they're insane about him. So much so that they paid for a private jet to take a show of his to Japan and back, because the woman who was the curator happened to have been an acquaintance of mine, so I know all about that. She insisted that she go along to make sure that they hung it right, and because being so poor, he painted only on cardboard. So, and he used, pencil and paint, so his stuff is very fragile. Has to be really climate controlled, and the Lithuanians couldn't afford the climate control. So that's the deals the woman worked with the Japanese. I'll give you the show to Tokyo if you'll build us a climate control storage system for his work, and the Japanese went for it.
In Lithuania.
Yes, Lithuania, and she accomplished it. She's amazing when she told me that story. So, if you go to Lithuania, there are streets named after him. There, all of the art schools, be they music schools or art schools, they're named after him because he wears both hats. And there's so many interesting stories. Oh, one more that is very fascinating. I don't know if you've heard of the name Landsbergis. He was nominated for the Peace Prize because he was the one who led Lithuania back to independence in 91, because the Soviets occupied us again in 41, and they stayed even though World War II ended, but not in Lithuania. The Russians stayed till 91. And the person who led this bloodless rebellion, it was bloodless till the very end, then the Russians attacked. But for 2 years, the person who led that entire rebellion is the biggest scholar of Curlionis, both his music and his art, including books in English. And his name is Landsbergis. And now, the other day, I saw his son giving an interview on Ukraine. I'm sorry, it's his grandson. He now is a representative at EU from Lithuania. So, and it was Curlionis who inspired him to become very nationalistic. And I maintain that one of the reasons, I don't know if you realize this, but Lithuania was the first country of the former Soviet Union occupied countries to start the revolution against the Russians. So that's Curlionis.
Thank you.
So these are 4 preludes. One thing I want to say about him is, I don't know why he doesn't get more recognition throughout the world. His music is very advanced. I think he precedes Prokofiev in using chromatic scales in a huge amount of his work in a way that's very, he brings in dissonant harmony, dissonant harmony, dissonant harmony in a fascinating way. And I hope you enjoy these. I'm going to play them in order this time. And the last prelude, this is where the chromatic. Oh no, this is the third one, sorry. Jumped the gun, didn't I? Well, that chromatic is. Here's another chromatic one. This is a very complicated piece. Curlionis. Curlionis.
Curlionis.
Oh,
And he
are you
died
stopping?
Very interesting.
That's it. That's the
And
program.
at no time did your fingers leave your hands. Look at
Now, time for the cake.
that.
Now,
Thank you.
we need to tell you about that case.
All right.
That looks like, yes.
What, that?
Um,
You're talking about the center?
Marc,